The War of 1812, October 1814, the war thus far. After the momentous events of August and September 1814, the burning of Washington, the attack on Baltimore, the retreat from Plattsburg, October seems relatively quiet. Quiet as long as you didn't get killed or wounded, that is. Perhaps the biggest action of the month is the Battle of Cook's Mills, which takes place on the 19th and was part of the Fort Erie/Niagara campaign. American Commander Major General George Izard wanted to dislodge the British forces under Lieutenant General Gordon Drummond from their base at Chippewa, but couldn't do it. Learning of a British supply dump at Cook's Mills on Lyons Creek in present-day Welland, Ontario, Izard dispatched 900 men under Brigadier General Daniel Bissell on October 18th in order to destroy it. Bissell's men drive off the British guards, then decide to camp there for the night, but are attacked after midnight by the Glengarry Light Infantry. The Americans drive them off, only to have the Redcoats return on the morning of the 19th with a force of 1,200 men. This leads to an intense firefight, ending in an orderly British withdrawal, which prevents them being outflanked by the Americans. According to author D.R. Westhouse, the Redcoats lose 1 dead, with 18 wounded or missing. The Americans 13 killed and 53 injured, while Wikipedia says the British had 35 wounded, the Americans 12 dead, 55 injured. After destroying 200 bushels of grain, the Yanks head back to Fort Erie, which the Americans abandoned on November 5th, ending the Fort Erie campaign and the last U.S. invasion of Canada. For now, haha. But what else happened? On October the 4th, a British force of 3,000 Royal Marines and men from the 21st and 44th Regiment landed at the head of the Coen River, C-O-E-N, the Coen River, in search of Yankee militia, said to be at Virginia's Northumberland Courthouse. According to D.R. Westhouse, the soldiers and Marines failed to locate the militiamen, but were attacked on their way back to their ships and lose 1 killed and 2 wounded. However, an article entitled "The Militia of Northumberland County" says that half of the 3,000 Redcoats drove off the militia, whilst the other half were landed further up the Potomac River to cut them off, which they failed to do. The article states, quote, "The British did seize 30 to 40 strands of arms, ammunition, slaves, and stock, and burned the furniture of a number of families. The final act occurred on the 7th, when a marauding party landed in the lower part of the county and burned the houses of one farm." End of quote. Later in October, the British will sail for winter quarters in Jamaica, leaving a reduced naval force to blockade Chesapeake Bay. Turning to sea, on October the 11th, the 17-gun American privateer Prince de Neuchâtel is attacked off Nantucket by the 40-gun Royal Navy frigate Endymion. I apologize now for any mispronunciations. Is attacked by the 40-gun Royal Navy frigate Endymion and decides to flee. The Endymion, by the way, was apparently the fastest sailing ship in the Royal Navy during the Age of Sail. So the prince is in trouble. And not only is the prince outgunned, it was also short of men. According to D.R. Westhouse, quote, "The American privateer had been so successful in taking prizes that her normal crew of 150 men had been reduced to 40, the prize vessels having been manned and taken into friendly ports." End of quote. Pursuit began in the afternoon, but by evening the wind had died, and while the prince could no longer escape, the Endymion could no longer pursue. But the Royal Navy never gives up. The Endymion dispatches 111 men in 5 boats to board the privateer, but their attempts are repulsed with heavy casualties to both sides. The privateers sink one boat and capture another, the other 3 boats heading back to base. So maybe the Royal Navy does give up. The British lose 28 killed, 37 wounded, 10 captured. Wikipedia says 28. Whilst the Americans suffered 7 dead and 24 injured. The prince's captain, John Ordronaux, will put both the wounded and the captured ashore at Nantucket before heading to Boston. The prince will be captured on December the 28th, 1814, after the war is actually over, and is taken to England, where she is eventually broken up. Told you, the Royal Navy never gives up. Thus, October 1814 sees the war winding down. In the Niagara region, the British go into their winter quarters, while the Americans actually leave the country, ending the Niagara campaign. Down south, the bulk of the British forces in the Chesapeake Bay area head for Jamaica. The snow and cold winds are a-comin', but somewhere the sun is shining, and wherever it shines, there's war. Think Florida. Stay tuned. The primary source for today's video was D.R. Westhouse's unpublished The War of 1812, a chronology of the military actions 1812 to 1815. But, as always, all errors are strictly my own. If this is your first visit to 1812 channel, my name is Warren and I'm your host. I'm not a historian, nor am I an expert on the War of 1812. Instead, I'm a student wishing to learn about the conflict. Each month for the roughly 3 years of the war, I will outline the major events, and from time to time, I will also review a book on the war. Did I miss anything? Any errors? Then let me know in the comments below. And till the barrage lifts, cheers. The images used in today's video are various October scenes shot around the Chateaux James, while the music is the stirring Crusade by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod. I chose it because I have an earworm for it at present, an earworm. But you can let me know if you think the music is too loud. Let me know in the comments. And let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions of any other military type theme music I could use on the channel. Cheers.